people in the other LSMs, other age group, other target market into the mass market. It is a recognition that yes, other people are listening to us, but we need to kind of fine-tune the marketing strategy so that we can do it. Local language broadcasting does not necessarily mean that we have to embellish too much. Is that in
it should just follow the standard ethics?
Not necessarily. I've always argued that journalism is alien to African. What I have always argued is that the African tradition rather promotes communication. So what we are doing in the local language market may not necessarily be your deep professional journalism, but we're communicating, and it's important that we're able to communicate to that market, because as a market,
but you acknowledge that you must communicate in a manner that does not perpetuate stereotypes that will put women.
Absolutely. I myself am a news editor, so I appreciate these things. I'm saying that there's room for us to improve, so we're ready to work on that.
Yes, Evans, very interesting discussion.
And I'm asking if really this can be said to be limited to the G stations, or we English-speaking stations are probably as guilty as they are in our reportage.
But isn't it also possible that we're more conscious of it, because English is not our language really? So you're being a little more cautious about the presentation of the issue so that you don't sound crude, because it may be crude in the local language, but may not be extremely offensive as compared to English.
Well, let's speak to somebody who understands this better. As far as research is concerned, Dr. Kaneshie Kanku is a media practitioner and a lecturer with his Global Communication Studies. Thank you, Doc, for time here on News. I need to ask you, this debate we've just been having, and today as we mark the World Radio Day, do you agree it's one that is, if you like, more predominant with the key local language speaking stations, or it's something that you can fairly say cuts across the radio landscape?
Well, Evans, thanks for having me. I would definitely agree with that particular position, because I think that if you look across the vast landscape of media practice or radio practice in this country, this particular problem that you're talking about, there is a preponderance of it on the three radio stations. I mean, let's not kid ourselves, on the three radio stations, and it's really bad. I am not saying that the English radio stations don't have their own issues or don't have their own standards or particular issues wrong with the way they practice journalism. I mean, we can talk about that. If we are talking about the vast landscape of the radio media in this country, I think that everybody who has any history of them would agree with that particular proposition, that the three different stations are more inclined to embellish their news in a way that sometimes does not share the real interest and standards of journalism.
I need to ask you, what would you say will be the way to deal with this, to handle this, to sanitize the airways when it comes to the local language stations?
Well, I think most of it goes back to journalism 101. Most of it goes back to journalism 101. You know, when you go to the journalism, it's important that they teach you some of these basic things, that the basic goal or the basic purpose of journalism is not to be edited. It is not even to entertain. It is not even to the public. The basic aim and goal of journalism is to tell the truth. And so when you narrate the news, or you do it in such a way that either embellishes the truth or even victimizes the victim, and in a way that not really shares the interest of the facts that we are sending, then I think that we all fall for it. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. People are sitting in their homes, and radio plays a very central role in the media scene in this country, especially in developing countries where a lot of people depend on radio to get their news and information. We depend on it to make decisions. We depend on it to be able to make decisions concerning our business, concerning our healthcare, and even in terms of advocacy.
No, Dr. Second, I've heard the argument, but some say, isn't this also a case of demand and supply? Because the key speaking stations have argued, indeed, if you're who's with us in the studio, say, look, listen, people want to hear that when it's on the G station, but obviously when you apply, say, to a Joy FM, there's no way Jafar and I could say some of the things that Ifya will be allowed to say and get away with on Anadome FM, for example. Isn't the case that the audience themselves want this kind of, you know, broadcast language, and that is how come the key speaking stations find it, you know, right to indeed use them?
Even, I don't know where you're coming from, but I completely disagree, because we are supposed to be the vanguard of society. We are supposed to be the safeguard, the measuring standard, and we are supposed to be an opinion leader in so to speak within the society. You know, and so this is not just about marketing, it's not about profit. It is about serving the public interest. That is the highest calling of journalism. The highest calling of our profession is to our conscience and to serve the public good. Okay, and not just in terms of business, in terms of audience response, in terms of what the people want, in terms to make money, to make profit, because that's what people want. You know, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of people who complain daily about these things. I mean, you see in the bars, you get the and yeah, it sounds funny, but people complain about it. And I mean,